It is the Matt Mosley Show, and we're off and running on 1 o'clock or maybe a couple minutes after on this Friday. And there's some students, Kevin, that have not. They just didn't go to school all week. They just went ahead and made it. Just what the heck? Let's just not even. Some of them actually did go back to school today.
Well, I heard there are some schools that had electrical problems, some had plumbing problems, all because of the different things.
I'm sure. But boy, Kevin, I usually like to introduce him. He just let himself right in there. I usually give him a nice intro, but there he is. There he is, Kevin Hoosier Hall. He's ready to roll today on a Friday. What used to kill Scotty, Kevin, my old producer, Scotty, is when, like on some days, like today, on a Friday, when we've had just crazy weather. Of course, we've done the show every day. We never took a day off, which is great. I'm glad we were able to do that and hopefully provide a little outlet for folks that didn't want to just focus on the fact they were trapped inside. But yeah, Kev, it's an interesting. But what I used to do that drove him nuts is on a day like today, I'd go, you know what? I think we're going to end the show a little early, and I could just sense the excitement he had. Mosley's going to get out. We're going to end it at like 2:30 today, and I never did. There's always something to talk about. Now, on occasion, if I have some travel or something big comes up, yeah, Kev will shut her down at like 2:00. All right, after 1 hour. But
my dad always.
Anytime you hear me say, Kevin, we're gonna finish up a little early today. Don't count on it.
My dad always taught me that nobody ever complained about a pastor going a little shorter and you heading to lunch a little earlier.
Yeah. No, I am. And pastors are not always. That's not their strength. And I always felt bad for my buddies that as I was already leaving the cafe in town, whether it be Moon's or Nell's or wherever we went growing up there in Kaufman, or maybe make it over to Terrell occasionally to one of those places like the Char Bar or Chris's was an old steakhouse over there, or one of the great Johnny, was it El Toro? And then you had Carmona's. And then Pete Dominguez was over there, and we'd make it over there for Sunday lunch every once in a while. But the worst was you'd see my buddies and my friends who were black their church services tended to go quite a bit longer than what we were doing over at First Baptist Kaufman. And you'd see coming in. They were just arriving at lunch as we were leaving. It's just like, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry y'all's church goes so long. And you know what? That's great. I think everybody kind of does things.
See,
in their
I've
own
been
way,
to a church in Africa.
Yeah.
After a 30-hour trip there,
yeah,
we showed up on Sunday morning for our mission trip and went straight to church.
Yeah. How'd that
and then
go?
Sat through the African church service.
Does that go pretty long time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And it was funny because I was the only one on the trip who, when I take a long flight, I am always against sleep. A lot of people use that as extra sleep. I'm like, no. I need to set to the new time. And so I was walking around that afternoon after church like a zombie trying to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And everybody else took a nap, and they didn't sleep well that first night. I slept beautifully, woke up the next morning ready to go, and everybody's like, I'm so jet lagged.
Yeah.
Nope. Stay up.
Yeah, we try to do the same when we travel internationally. Kev, today I really do kind of need the sunglasses because in addition to being out late for to see Mark Aguirre, I honestly thought, Kevin, you know how I was just joking about, taking off early. I thought that we would watch the Mark Aguirre halftime ceremony, and because it was the Hornets and the Mavs, we would just be like, we can leave after the third quarter or something. I don't have to see the end of this. It just happened to be one of the most historical nights in team history, though, because once Mark Aguirre goes in, um, history was made with Cooper Flag, and so I'll talk about that. But Kev, the real reason I'm dragging a little bit today is because I got home and I wanted to monitor what was happening in the Australian Open. I knew that Alcaraz and Zverev, the German and the great Spaniard Alcaraz, were playing in the semifinal. And I certainly wanted to watch that. And then it went on and on and on. And it was kind of controversial because Alcaraz was cramping, and yet he got like a full on medical timeout. And so they were working on him and the physio. I wish I had a physio guy I could call on in a tennis match and they could come out and rub my legs down and everything. I think it could really help.
I just went back to the gym for the first time in a week, and it's not so rough on the muscles, but
Yeah.
I've been kind of under the weather, so the breathing was kind of an issue. But
I don't doubt it. You've lost your wind. You lost your conditioning a little bit. But Kev, this game, this match went on into the 1 a.m. Then I believe by the time I was finishing watching it, it probably ended at about 2:30 a.m. And I was so hyped up because of the match. I probably didn't finally try to go to sleep until about 3:30 a.m. And it's because it's in Australia and the times are off and they don't exactly, we like to think in America that like everything is done around our TV. And for the most part, it is. But when they have Wimbledon and when they have the Australian Open, they don't exactly plan around the Americans. They do it when it's right for them. And then we have to kind of get on and watch. And if you're really into it, you can stay up late. At about 3:30 in the morning or 4 in the morning, the other match, the other semifinal between Djokovic and Yannick Sinner was starting. Djokovic wins this in 5 sets. I got to watch that. They'll show that today during normal hours when we're off the air, Kevin. I may watch that match, even though I know that Djokovic won. But that match last night was unbelievable. And poor Zverev, he's probably never going to win a major. This would be the greatest opportunity he could ever have to get to a final and to have a shot to beat Alcaraz. And he couldn't get past, to beat Djokovic. Well, whoever win now, yeah, it would be, he would have advanced on to, wow, now that I think about it, he would have had a great chance against Djokovic. And, but last night he couldn't. They're in the 5th set. He fights his way down. He was 2 sets to none, but Alcaraz was hurt. He comes back, wins the next 2 sets. And Kevin is the PA announcer for Baylor women's tennis. So he's into tennis and he likes watching this stuff too, although it does not, from what I can tell about Kevin and his spryness today, I don't think he stayed up as late as I did. But Kev, in the 5th,
I was waking up about an hour after you went to bed.
Yeah, there you go.
Kev
does. Kev, wow, that is impressive that you went to the gym. That was wild, though, Kev. All Zverev had to do, he was serving for the win at 5-4, and he didn't. He got broken. And then, of course, he's on serve he needs to win his serve to get it to another tiebreaker in the 5th set. And he gets broken again by Alcaraz. The great ones, and I, there's a bunch of them. Okay, even back to Connors and McEnroe and all those guys. But the more modern greats, the Nadal and Federer, and obviously Djokovic, they're at their best in those enormous moments. And Zverev, as great as he'd played through a lot of that match, with it on the line and the ability to take down the great Alcaraz, he could not do it. He could not do it. Now, part of it was just people freak out in those moments. And part of it is just the flat out greatness of Alcaraz. So Alcaraz and Sinner are well on their way to being all-time greats. The problem for Sinner last night and the problem for Alcaraz coming up on Sunday when they have this, whenever they decide to do things in Australia, is that, Djokovic isn't quite done. Everybody wants him to be, and they think he is, and this may be the last time, or he may retire. But at age 38, and some writer made him mad the other day, and they said, "Oh, what's it feel like? You were chasing people were chasing you. Now you're chasing Sinner and Alcaraz," and he didn't like that. He did not like the way that was phrased. How can you say to a guy who has 24 grand slams that he's chasing anybody? If anything, they're chasing his. And after he retires, they'll still be chasing his records. All right. So I think that got under his skin. And now he plays for a 25th grand slam. A 25th grand slam. Michael Woodson, the Baylor men's tennis coach, who I was just texting with, he's got to be very proud of me right now. Michael watches the show, and he's a great tennis coach. And Baylor men are good. The Baylor women are good. They're both ranked. And the Baylor men, Kevin, I know you got duties coming up with the Baylor women. I would suggest going to watch the Baylor men tonight against Tulsa, because Tulsa's really good. Baylor's 6-1. They're coming off a big win over Wisconsin on Monday. They had some matches this week. They had one with, I think, SMU. They got canceled because of the weather, but Tulsa is in town, I believe, tonight. And if you're looking for something to do this evening, that would be great. All right. And then, of course, I'll do what everybody else is going to do. I mean, I'm a true Baylor fan and also a journalist, but I'll be watching Baylor at West Virginia tomorrow at like 3:00. And it's awful to watch. It's awful to watch what's happening to Baylor. But you know what? I'll turn it on in hopes that they find a way and that they turn it around. But yeah, there's a big story in college basketball right now. And it's the fact that one of the great programs in all of college basketball is 1-7 in conference. And as I said yesterday, Kevin, and the Z-Man made a short of it. I appreciate it. Kevin, I always appreciate you on those things too. When I see somebody do a really good short from our show, I kind of think of you, because I know you've kind of captured that moment and sent it to them. All right. So here's looking at you, kid. Now, Kev, I meant to send you something a minute ago. I was going to send you my pictures of the, let me see if, did you get that from me a second ago?
You got me the video that is amazing. You want to see?
Okay. Is this the Aguirre? Okay. This is me. Okay. I was at the arena last night, and my childhood hero, the countdown had begun. And after the halftime ceremony that went a little long, his speech, I'm sure the Hornets were like, when are we ever going to come out and play the second half?
I saw
this
the
ceremony
video,
went about 30 or 40 minutes.
30 minutes? It's a halftime of an NBA basketball.
I know. It took a while. In March.
It's not like the Super Bowl halftime show. This is
no,
okay. All right.
But it was awesome. And for those of us who grew up on that, there was a moment where they tried to say something nice about the new owners, and the fans started booing. And from where I was, it seemed almost kind of like, Kevin, that it was like right when he also brought up the Carter family, and I thought, why would they boo the original owners of the Mavericks? That doesn't sound right. Oh, they had a Stetson hat, by the way, sitting there where Mr. C would have been. Don Carter, the original owner, majority owner of the Dallas Mavs. In fact, when they won the title in 2011, we were all in Miami for that. A lot of us covering that. And Mr. C himself, they called him up on the stage, and in his hat with the Stetson hat. So last night they had members of the Carter family there, but they put Mr. Carter's hat, one of his old hats, in a chair. And so they had him sitting there for Mark. Norm Sanju was there, the first president and director of everything that helped get the franchise off the ground. And he's got to be 89 or 90 or something like that. He was there. It was a pretty cool moment. All right, Kevin, let's show my little video of the unveiling. All right, there it was. And it was oh, good, Kev. I like that. It took they had to raise it, and it slowly, and then the Hornets came out, and then it was up real high, and then it had to get over to its new spot, and it kind of, I don't think I ever really followed it to the new spot, because then the game started back up, and it actually turned into a great game last night. And Kev, and by the way, they're all good. There's Mark, and he was extremely emotional. And Mark was a difficult personality, and he was a great NBA player, but he was not easy to be around. Roe is the ultimate professional and the ultimate team guy. And I know Mark, it used to bother Roe like crazy. Roe and I still talk quite a bit, and you can't really see Roe's. That's him clapping over the left. I thought that was really neat, because Mark does not get around that well, and has had some major health stuff recently. But when it was time for him to go to the mic, Dirk, whose jersey obviously hangs in the rafters, Roe, whose jersey's up there, and Derek Harper all walked up there with him. And Harp and Roe stood up there next to him, his old teammates. And it was, the speech was a little rambling and all, but that was fine. That's just kind of who Mark is. And watching it all and watching it happen, I was just like a kid again, because you saw those years, Kev, that would have been little, I would have been 7 or 8 years old during those first years of the Mavs. He was with the Mavs 81 through 89. Mavs first season, I believe, was 79 and 80, which, by the way, Kev, I looked it up earlier today, was the first season they had the three-pointer. In the first three-pointer ever made in the NBA. Boy, this sounds like a good Schmaltz's trivia question. Somebody was tweeting at me yesterday, Kevin, for the Schmaltz, and they had everything right, but they didn't have they had the wrong DePaul coach. They had the son of the coach, who did end up becoming the DePaul coach, but the answer to that trivia question was Ray Meyer was the DePaul head coach who Mark played for. But I just couldn't, it was just so neat to be thinking about sitting with my dad, watching Mark and Jay Vincent and Roe and Derek and Scott Lloyd and Nymphius, and along the way, Bill Whittington, Uwe Blob, and just all the guys that came along. But when they finally broke through, about the 83 or 84 season, might have been the 84 season, and they had to play the Kev, they had to, because of course nobody thought the Mavs were going to be in the playoffs. They had already booked the Ringling Brothers Circus over at Reunion Arena, so they actually had to play a playoff game against the Supersonics against Seattle, and that would have been Jack Sikma, and I think Tom Chambers was already with them, maybe Vrzalik, some of those guys. And anyway, they had to play the playoff game at Moody Coliseum, which of course was where SMU played, and that place only held Reunion held like 16 or 17,000. I think it was 17,007 is what I remember, and Moody only held literally like maybe 7,500. So it was hard. It was a very tough ticket, but my dad secured us tickets. And it was the first time ever. I'm a kid. Let's see, 19, if that's 84, I was either 10 or 11 years old. And I hear everybody start chanting, "Seattle sucks. Seattle sucks. And I'd never heard that in my life. Like I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know the term. I didn't know the phrase. I don't think Dad probably took, really explained that. Of course, now we say, "Oh, this sucks. That sucked." We don't really. It's just not even that big of a deal. But I remember the chant. And Kev, in those days, in those early days of the Mavs, when they finally started to get good with Mark and Rowe and Derek Harper, and then Roy Tarpley joined them, and they got really good. But you'd just be playing a random team, let's say the whoever was in town, the Rockets or whoever, and these beat LA chants would break out. And so the everybody was obsessed with beating the LA Lakers because of course Magic was there and Kareem and James Worthy and Big Smooth. At one point they had Perkins, but also Perkins played for the Mavs for a while. So I'm trying to think when Perkins got there, but Perkins played for both of those organizations. But it was, and I think he did a video. Sam Perkins did. Magic Johnson did a video. Dirk did a video, even though he was there. That was just so cool to look over. And then Mark saw some other teammates, Morion Wiley, and I think it's Morion. Anyway, the old guard, he was there. I still think of him as like a young, little rookie. And it's just weird to see these guys as like old men. These guys are all in their 60s, and you're just like, oh my gosh, what happened? But anyway, it was a cool evening. And on top of all of that, and I want to remind you, by the way, while we're reminiscing, my old co-host, Randy Galloway, who covered Mark Aguirre, is scheduled to be on with us today at 2:00. Now, Randy and I did radio together, and Kev, he's way more comfortable with just getting a call on the phone, but we don't really do that here on YouTube. We kind of could do it. Scotty could do it in studio up at Rogue, but it's a whole different level of trying to make things happen. Now, Kevin's already given me some ways to maybe help Randy. Kevin, what we'll do, we'll just see if he arrives. And if he doesn't, because again, I'm not good at technology either. Okay. And I can't imagine how it is for people that are like 82 years old, like Randy is. So we'll give it a go at 2. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We'll go to plan B, but that'll be kind of fun. Now, Kev, on top of everything, I was just, going down memory lane. On top of everything last night, like this incredible rookie duel breaks out. Con Knipple, who played for the Duke, and Cooper Flagg, who's also in that photograph right there. Ooh, I like that, Kev. I'm glad you had the perfect photo. Those guys just played together and made the Final Four together last season for Duke. And last night, they're on the floor facing each other. And before I'd barely gotten into my seat, Knipple hits 3 threes to open the game. He gets in a rhythm. He's got 19 or 20 at the half. Cooper goes off in the second quarter and ends up with 23 in one quarter. He has 25 at the half. And so I'm there for the Mark Aguirre jersey retirement in this massive that's good. Kevin's just like on it today. I think it's a workout. I think getting back in the gym has really given him even more mental acuity. I like this. Kev. Just bouncing from still photo to still photo. Oh, and all my guys in the newspaper business would love you too, Kev, for still having these wonderful photos. Honestly, I like it more when I'm talking, because when you're showing highlights while you're talking, can be a little bit distracting. So I really enjoy this. Kevin, at the end of the third quarter, I look up, and they take him out with 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. They take Cooper out for a rest, normal rest. And I look up and he's got 40. I'm just like, oh my gosh, he's going to do this. He's going to get 50. He's going to do it. And they get down by 3. Brandon Miller hits a wide open 3 to put Charlotte back up by 3. So really, it ended up being a great game. And Mavs come down, and Cooper Flagg nails a 3 to tie it up. And at this point, he's got 40. He's got 49. He's at 49. You're like, he's going to do this. He's going to do this. And sadly, with I didn't know how much time was left on the shot clock, but with about 15 seconds left, he makes a pass. Look at that. 49 points. 10 rebounds. Unreal. Even the great Luka did not do this. I thought it was kind of cool, Kev. The most points Aguirre ever had as a Mav, 49 points. I remember when he did it. He was mad he didn't get in the All-Star game. And he went out and put 49. Somebody will remember that. If you're on the YouTube, get on the comments and remind me who Aguirre had his 49 points against. It was a game right before the All-Star break. And he was totally peeved about not making it. And if that sucker didn't put up 49 points, wow. It was awesome. And but Cooper last night with the game on the line, like 15 seconds left, he tried to make the right play. Everybody was keying on him, and he kind of throws it across court, and the pass gets picked off by number 7 right there, Con Knipple, and he takes off the other way, and Cooper retreats, and they're one-on-one, just like they are there. And Con is going in. He's going right at he's going to try to, take it right to the rack. Cooper jumps up. I guess Jason Kidd didn't have a challenge, because I totally would have challenged this, but he must have been out of challenges. He rises up, and it looks like a clean block. It looked like a great defensive play. And he might have gotten him with the body. They call a foul. And with 4.1 seconds left, Knipple hits the 2 free throws. And Mavs sadly draw up a play, try to get it to Flagg, of course, and they just don't get a great shot, and they lose the game by 2 points. Again, what we'll remember from this night is not that they lost to Charlotte. This night will always be remembered for just an enormous moment for Cooper Flagg. 49 points, 10 rebounds. He is here to stay. Now, Kevin, this was not the headline, but Knipple ended up with, I think, 34 with those last 2 free throws, either 34 or 36. Double check me on that, Kev, if you don't mind. I think it was 34. Unbelievable shootout between the 2 Duke stars. And then at one point I'm looking out there and I'm like, who is the guy last name James? Who is that? He's in there. He's getting a lot of playing time. Guard, number 14 for the Hornets. And if it wasn't another guy from that Final Four Duke team, he's a little older. He's 23 years old. Sion, I think is Sion or Siam, Sion James. And he was on the Duke team. I started looking. I'm like, who else is here from Duke? I mean, it is amazing how many players they pump out, just like Baylor. And of course, Baylor's, has had an unbelievable run of these top 19 draft picks. I mean, the last 5 drafts, 6 drafts, 5 drafts for sure. They've had at least one player in the top 19. One year they had 2 with Jacoby Walter and Yves Messi. But
right.
yeah.
Knipple had 34.
Okay.
He buried 8 3-pointers. He 8 of 12 from 3. And then Sion had, he had 8 rebounds.
Okay.
No points, 8 rebounds. And Aguirre scored 49 January 28th, almost to the day yesterday, in 1985 against the Philadelphia 76ers.
Wow.
Almost to, like, a day off from yesterday.
You know, and think about who was on the Sixers in 85. I would imagine they had Moses Malone, Mo Cheeks, and they could have had a young. I'm just trying to think when Barkley got there, when he got out of Auburn. That could have been. They could have had was that a rookie Barkley on that team? Maybe 85. Wow,
Yep.
Wow. That's a stacked. I don't think Bobby Jones was still on that team. Bobby was, was with them in the late 70s, early 80s. But dang, who else was on that
Barkley
team?
was not a rookie. He's not.
He wasn't on that team.
Oh, he was on the team, but he was not a rookie. The roster was Barkley, Cheeks, Dr. J still there.
Dr. J.
Moses Malone. Yeah, that's a team right there.
What was it? Who won that game?
Let's see.
I could see Mark going off for 49 and the Mavs losing.
It was 111-109. Mavs won.
They did win. Who had the second?
All 49 of those points.
Isn't that amazing? 49 of the 111. And last night, what did they get beat? Last night was like 123, 121 or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. And 49 of the 121, still pretty amazing.
Right.
But I liked an angry Aguirre, but he was angry most of the time. He was a brooding athlete. But I was watching footage of him last night, and I was just reminded, man, sometimes he's still, from a dunking, athleticism, finishing, he could do it all. I remember, he said he had a huge rear, and he had this huge trunk, this lower body, enormous strength. And so you think of him more as a post-up player, but man, he could get out on the break. He would have functioned beautifully with the Showtime Lakers, Celtics. Didn't matter. He was the one who let Isaiah and Mahorn and Lambeer and all those brutes, John Sally, whoever, he was the one who allowed the Pistons to break through. Rodman, of course, 89 and 90 when they won those titles. It was Aguirre doesn't get enough credit, man. He was a huge part of that. All right, man, that was good. That was a fun way. It was a fun way to open the program today. Anything you can do, Kevin, to keep me away from having to talk Baylor basketball right now? Women's, I'm fine, but anything you can do. I got to see what the women have coming up this weekend because they have.
Oh, I have something for you in Campus Confidential.
Good.
Don't you worry.
Good. Okay. 2, we're going to try to have the legendary Galloway on. But right now, we're going to do some Campus Confidential. That's next.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform
at your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
When you strive for greatness, you have a target on your back. When it comes to finances, we're all targets for scammers. But with the right game plan, you can protect yourself. Don't get faked by fraud.
Here's a tip.
If you get a call saying they're going to lock you in jail for missing jury duty unless you pay a fine, that's fake. Scammers use scare tactics to force you to act without thinking. Just hang up the phone.
This message is brought to you by Central National Bank.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. us.muc-off.com.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGOAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
All right. And Kevin, since we were just talking so much tennis and we're about to do Campus Confidential, by the way, thank you, CNB. Thank you, Central National Bank, our presenting sponsor. We appreciate you. Kev, touch base, please, with the executives today, because you know it's time. You know it's time to get these new commercials going. You can stream these tennis matches, at least the men's tennis matches. Now, Kevin, you can help us on the women since you're part of that program and out there as the PA man for that group, the PA/hype man for Joey and his bunch. But Michael was just telling me that their match tonight against Tulsa is streamed through Cracked Rackets on YouTube. All right. Maybe I need to do some side work for Cracked Rackets. I feel like I could give them some good tennis analysis. I'm sure they would really appreciate that. All right, Kev, it is time for Campus Confidential. A reminder, the legendary Randy Galloway is I'm hoping he'll join me at 2. Again, we'll just see. Kevin has sent the invite, the link, and Kevin, you and I may have to kind of just coach him through it a little bit, but one way or another, we'll break at 55 just to kind of give plenty of time. So Kevin, don't race through this. Well, we may have plenty of time in the 2.
Do remember, I run a morning show with a 70-year-old host, so
70-year-old co-host.
Yeah. Zach Owen. 70, just turned 70, so
yeah, that's a young 70, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, buddy.
All right.
That's so interesting. Where y'all do it from? At some point, I'm gonna have to ask you about all that. That whole thing is kind of interesting to me. But Campus Confidential.
Yep.
It is time, sir. Will you do the honors?
Absolutely. You wanted to talk Baylor basketball, but let's talk women's basketball. So you don't have to lower any blood pressure or anything like that, all right?
It goes up when I talk about it. Yeah,
I know. Well, it may not get a whole lot better here because the women play West Virginia the day after the men do at West Virginia. So how tough do you think it will be for them going against number 22 West Virginia at their place?
It's a good program. I like what they're doing, but I right now the Bears, and it's kind of funny that Inez, and then there's somebody else that's been hurt or something that's arriving. Like the Bears keep, I bet Scott's jealous because it's like Nikki it's the opposite. They just keep getting all these reinforcements. And so I think this team is capable of playing 10 or 11 people. I mean, and not like having huge fault. Now, obviously, Talia, Scott, I thought that was good the other game. So my answer to your question, Kev, is I feel fine about it. I think West Virginia, it's not as good of a fan base for women's hoops as some others. I think Oklahoma State is getting better. I think Iowa State is the best. I think K-State's okay. I think Baylor is has been great at times in the past, has ebbed and flowed here in the Nikki era. But I would say right now is a great time for this Baylor fandom to get behind them, because I know the men's team is not doing what it normally does. The women's team has the capability of playing their way back into the top 10 in the country. So why in the world right now you can either complain about we're not good at football, we're not good at men's basketball anymore, we're not good at this, we're not good at baseball, or you could go support a really good team. And I think that would be a great opportunity. But what I was going to tell you is
you failed to mention TCU women's basketball in the Big 12.
I don't think that's a great fan base. I was talking about fans.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think TCU's good. Now, they barely beat Kansas. Kansas gave them all they could handle last night. And I think TCU only won that game by 2.
Mark Campbell's one of my buddies from back when we lived in Oregon.
Oh, nice.
Our kids went to the same school. My daughter was coached on her 4th grade team, I think, by Mark's wife.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, why don't you help us get them on sometime?
I may do that.
Why don't you be a producer? Okay. So they're gonna be fine. It'll be tough. But I guess what I was getting with all those female fan bases is that it's not like they're walking into Baton Rouge or even Ames. I don't think Morgantown has. I could be wrong. Maybe it's a hostile environment. I think they kind of function well. Oh, here's the women's point I wanted to make for women's, but I thought something happened that was really good the other day. Like Talia did not have one of her best games. And I think, she's usually 20 every night, right? And she scored 12 or 14. They needed to win a game when she didn't have her best stuff. And they did. And Bugs, I think in that game, had 24. That's a great sign. It's a great sign. Bugs, you talked about it with Nikki. We'll bring it up again next week. She had to remind Bella and Bugs to do what they do best. And they were trying to be kind of someone they weren't for a while. And Bugs is getting back to not only being who she is, but kind of starting to be dominant again. That's a great sign for Baylor if Talia's not having to carry all the scoring load. A great sign for that team. What else do you have for me, sir?
Team basketball. So would you say that there's more of a difference in the rankings than it is in men's with women's basketball? There's a bigger step between some of these rankings, because we're talking about 14 versus 22, and you're saying, oh yeah, that's definitely a go on the road against a lesser ranked team.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I was just hearing from Gary Patterson of all people, and so I got a little distracted. You're still asking me about West Virginia? Yeah.
Well, I'm asking, would you say that in women's basketball there's more of a difference, a bigger step between each one of the rankings, or would you consider them still to be really close?
Oh, that's interesting. I don't really even a bigger. You mean from like the number 1 team to the number 15 team in the country?
Right.
Like,
There's more of a
yeah.
gap in that within that.
Not as much as it used to be. I mean, because now we even saw recently where somebody that probably shouldn't have knocked off South Carolina. And so it's a little bit more of an even playing field. That said, I bet there's probably a pretty big fall off from like the top 6 to 12 or 13, 14, kind of where the Bears are right now. But, Baylor beat a team earlier this year. Was it Duke? That's kind of gotten hot again.
Yeah.
And they've worked their way back up, right? So I think, yeah, it's not like it used to be. It used to be sort of UConn and maybe a couple others and Baylor, and that was it.
Yeah.
And nobody else could really compete. Now you got Texas, Tech's better, Oklahoma State's gotten better. I just think, including Mac, by the way, I just think people made some great hires. Like JC at Oklahoma State was an unbelievable hire. Molly at Arizona State, a lot of people wanted Mac to hire her when he hired, after Kim left. She's awesome. She's incredible. I think Nikki's done a really good job at Baylor. So like the coach at Oklahoma is, and that's not Big 12, but I'm just saying overall women's basketball, Barancic. Wow. The thing I'm happy about is seeing, and maybe it's just money, which is fine. I mean, we all would love more NIL money, but that Gerlich kind of getting it going at Tech a little bit. Like, and I know they got beat the other night, but that's great. It's great for women's basketball to see like a legendary type program that's been in hibernation for years and years to wake back up. Vic woke Texas back up.
Yeah.
Baylor put it into hibernation. Kim had I can't remember her name. I think she coaches at UTSA now. Kim had Karen Aston was her name at UT in a headlock for about, 10, 15 years. All right. What else do you have, sir?
So,
and Vic, by the way.
Yeah. How do you feel about the college football playoff staying at 12 teams while the Big Ten, the SEC, and Notre Dame all want an expansion?
Staying at 12 teams?
Staying at 12.
Uh-huh.
That's because that's where it's landed right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is what you get. You have handed all the decision-making power to the superpowers, Petiti and Sankey, and you go, okay, we're going to trust that you'll do what's best for college football, which is a joke. They're going to do what's best for the Big Ten and SEC, right? But they're the closest thing we have to like sort of the commissioners of all this. So I think we probably got the best result.
Yeah.
The Big Ten, lobbying for 24 is a joke. 16 would have been fine. I would have been fine with 16. Anything more than that's too much. So I've really got no problem. I don't see why Notre Dame, quite frankly, even has a seat at the table. I mean, I'm fine with them being in, and I want, if they're good, they should be in the playoff. That's all fine. But we spend too much time worrying about what Notre Dame's thinking.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
So, with some of this, I wanted to reference a couple of rankings here.
Please do.
This is the rankings of the final CFP before the playoffs. This is the final rankings as they headed into, and so this would have been the rankings where they formed the bracket off of. So if we're looking at 12, obviously the 11 and 12 there get kicked out because they have the conference champions from somewhere else,
the
right?
Rules. Yeah.
Right.
Well, they didn't mean to, but they ended up because the ACC was such a joke and Duke won it. So it took a weird series of events to get a couple of teams in there that obviously didn't really show up. Go
so
ahead.
If you had 16 here, would that mean that you included down to USC, or do Utah and USC hop out and James Madison and Tulane hop
Well,
in?
in the future, they will never let what happened again. They will never let James Madison, and they might hold a spot for one, but they'll never be a opportunity unless those teams are just like top,
right?
10 type teams.
I would argue
that will never happen again.
I would argue that North Texas may be better than both of those teams last year.
Yeah,
and they didn't even get a sniff of a chance.
No, but who did get South Florida's, or was it Tulane? Yeah, that got in.
Tulane and JMU.
But South Florida smoked North Texas. I mean, North Texas. I am with you, but every one of those teams you just mentioned would have gotten smoked,
right?
Including UNT.
So
I would say if it had been expanded, I would have enjoyed seeing BYU, Notre Dame, and you would have had to take Texas over Vandy. And
but they're all, if we're going 16, and to your point, saying it's all Big Ten SEC, there's no extra Big Ten teams that get in there, even though USC, Michigan, and maybe Iowa potentially could have sniffed that a little bit.
Yeah.
You had BYU and Utah from the Big 12. I guess you would have had USC, so you would have had Notre Dame. You would have had 2 Big 12, 2 SEC, and a Big 10 added.
You're talking about if it was 16,
straight the top 16.
Yeah. I think I'm just glad, honestly, they're keeping it at 12, and I think it's a joke that they've. The bottom line is, I would have been fine with 16, but the Big Ten's blocking it, and so to your point, I don't know. I just think those two don't trust each other at all. And it's a symptom of what's ailing college football. And again, the viewership's fine. We're having fun, but we also deal with the Mensa nonsense, the Duke guy going to Miami, the Dabo craziness with him calling out. I mean, this is for us, it's great, Kev. It's like as a talk show host, I laugh at people that go around like, this is messed up, this is awful. It's like, what do you want? You don't want drama? Like, this is great drama. But anyway, I don't. Yeah, that's interesting to look at it that way.
I think that it should be 16, and with that, get away with from the conference champions, because I think I saw Gruden pointed out that you're actually penalizing these teams who get to play for the championship, because while Indiana, Ohio State are battling, Oregon gets to sit back and gets extra rest.
Yeah, I just think we have conferences all these years, and until they blow that up, like there's this need in putting a bracket together that we have to at least account for that and honor who's at the top of those conferences. But I'm with you. The first thing I'd do is just get rid of the conference title games. I would not get rid of conferences.
Right.
Because, again, then it's true anarchy, which is where we already are. Okay, we need to break, and we need to get ready for, he's calling me now. Take a break. We'll have Randy Galloway next.
Ready for a better kind of primary care?
At Patient First Direct Primary Care, you get unlimited office visits with same-day or next-day availability.
And instead of rushed appointments, we take the time to actually listen.
There are no insurance hassles, just clear, simple care.
You can reach us by phone or text because access shouldn't be complicated. Our practice has expanded to include Medicare-age patients as part of our direct primary care model.
It's a fresh alternative to the traditional insurance or government-driven systems, care that finally puts you first.
For more information, go to patientfirstdirect.com.
Save big during the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Waco. Drive a new Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab with $13,000 off, or choose 0% financing. Get a new Laramie Crew Cab 4-wheel drive with 3.9% financing for 72 months, plus $15,000 off MSRP. Explore in a new Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo, starting at $31,990. Happening now at Allen Samuels.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's internxt.com today.
Welcome to Market XLS, your all-in-one Excel solution for investors. Designed as an enterprise-grade platform, Market XLS caters to investment managers, secure and efficient investment management and research. Book your free demo.
Experience with the Mosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
MosleymD.com.
At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
Unlock a world of convenience with Mullybox, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your taste. Mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we were hoping Coach Collin would bring that championship mindset to do whatever she has to do to take our workplace culture to the next level.
Well, these donuts are pretty good.
Guys, how we doing?
We're good, Coach.
Craig! What are you doing?
What do you mean?
You have to dunk it.
So far, I think our employees are really enjoying it.
Not everything's a basketball thing.
Did you say something, Craig?
No, ma'am.
That's what I thought.
Dude, I think she likes you.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
It's the Restore Clarity Focus Patch, my little secret weapon for staying sharp, focused, and on task. Each box comes with simple instructions inside, so you always know exactly how to apply it. Each patch lasts for 3 days. I love that I can wear it all day.
But boy, it looked effortless.
Man, watch this.
Layups, floaters, threes. He was like an unsolvable equation.
I was born like this.
His resilience.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
When you strive for greatness, you have a target on your back. And when it comes to finances, we're all targets for scammers. With the right game plan, you can protect yourself. Don't get faked by fraud.
Here's a tip. No reputable company or government agency will ever ask you to pay them with gift cards, Bitcoin, or a person-to-person payment app. Scammers use these options because the money can't be traced. Just don't do it.
This message is brought to you by Central National Bank.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Welcome to Kitbag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, for true football passion, think Kitbag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's KITBAG.com. Kitbag.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
We offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at bizchair.com to transform your business.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
At Tusain's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
We are now back to the show, and we're teasing you right now because my legendary former co-host and friend, oh wow, it looks like he's in there, and this will give him another opportunity to to be frustrated with me. Because he and I don't do extremely well with technology, but let me try to bring him on now. My longtime friend, the longtime columnist, and radio legend Randy Galloway. I see him in there. So let's see if we can bring him up. All right, it may take a moment here, but the good news is we have him. We've kind of have him in the waiting room there, and it certainly appears like we'll be able to bring him on. But that will require my man Kevin, and we'll let you know when it's time to bring him in. And I think I had such fun last night at that Mavs game, and it did feel pretty neat to see somebody that was 66 years old that needed to be, and it was long overdue, getting his jersey retired. And it had a lot to do with some bad blood over the years. And for whatever reason, people not getting the retirement done. And then, for whatever reason, this new ownership and this new Welts, I believe is the guy's name, used to be with the NBA office years ago. He knew what Mark Aguirre meant to, and he came in, he's the president. He replaced St. Marshall with the Mavs, and he got this thing done. And it was a neat night, and it was quite a long ceremony. Can we bring Randy Galloway onto the screen? Kev, can we make that happen? I see him. Right now, we don't have the okay.
Hello, Matt.
Oh, Randy, that's perfect because this can be. Yeah.
I have a radio face, so that's why they're. And I'm also old and stupid. That's a bad combo. So that's why we haven't been able to figure out the Kevin and I. Your man Kevin and I have been working on it. We hadn't been able to figure out the screen part of it yet.
You would enjoy Kevin, Randy. He kind of reminds me of some of our old producers. He's not a man that gets a lot of haircuts. Of course, I don't either these days. He's got a bit of a hippie vibe to him. And now the one thing he did, Randy, that you and I would have never considered doing. He's a man in his mid-40s who has 7 children. All right, and I think I only had one. You had a couple, but I think that's all we could. That's really all we could handle, right? But
afford, the main thing. That's all I could afford. I'm all for Kevin. Though I like that. I like the hippie thing with 7 kids.
Yeah, he's doing well. They live in a commune. No, I don't know. They have a good time, and they have an incredible family. Well, there he is. If you could see your screen right now, look at Kevin. Right. Oh, and Randy, he just won he went to Indiana. He graduated from Indiana, and they just won the national title. So he's feeling
absolutely
better about things. What he's probably trying to do as we speak, Randy, is find a nice young photo of you. I hope he finds one when you had that great dark mustache and dark hair back in your morning days. And we can use that. Did you get to, Randy, while we're doing this, and I'm just glad people can at least hear your voice. You sound great. Did you get to watch the Aguirre ceremony? I don't know. I was there in the arena. I just didn't know exactly how they presented this thing on TV or I know you're on some social media, although you made fun of us for texting for years until you realized that texting was kind of a great thing. And it could keep you from having to call everybody all the time. Did you get to watch any of that ceremony? And how happy were you for Mark Aguirre for his jersey to finally be retired?
Well, number one, I think the thing went on forever. I don't know how long. It seemed like it was 35, 40, forever, the halftime deal. And no, I didn't catch a lot of that. I did catch, I guess, the highlights on all the local sports shows. And number one, I am happy for Mark Aguirre. And a lot of people, they got to be old to remember it. But, look at that. That's that old mustache. Man. And no gray hair. What the heck happened?
You really haven't changed that much. I mean, you still kind of look like that guy. We need a cigar. I think you need a cigar there.
Looks like a guy who just did a couple of joints or something. I don't know. Back in the day when Mark Aguirre played for the Mavericks, I don't think anybody, maybe a few, but not many, were as hard on him as I was. Because, Matt, while I am very glad that this has happened.
Yeah.
And even though it happened with people who don't have a clue about what really went on with Mark Aguirre back in the day, that's that doofus owner out of Vegas. And this other guy that's in there now is some kind of president of the team or whatever he is.
Yeah.
But back in the day, Mark Aguirre was a very controversial figure in Dallas. And people will ask, have been asking here lately, why is this taking so long? Why are we going on nearly 40 years? Why did this take so long? Well, I'll tell you, it's because Mark Aguirre was a total a-hole here. But a great player. So you combine everything in years and years and years. I was going, okay, let's forget what happened. Let's just move on. And this idea of let's remember him for the player he was. And if somebody associated now with the club wants to put him, hang his number up in the rafters, good. Be done with it. I will point out this, though. While these outsiders have done it, remember that all the years Mark Cuban on this team, he didn't do it, Matt.
No.
Why didn't he do it? Because back in the day, out of college, moving to Dallas, Mark Cuban was a heck of a Mavericks fan.
Yeah.
Talks about setting up in the rafters at old Reunion Arena and watching those teams in the 80s. And so Mark Cuban knew the story of Mark Aguirre, knew it was a controversial story. He never put the numbers up in the rafters. But I repeat, it's done and good for Mark. And God, he seemed to love it. He just seemed to be overwhelmed by it, and good for him. But let's don't forget this much. The reason he hasn't been up there, and none of the stories we're reading about all this are saying this, he was a total a-hole in Dallas as a player, but a great player.
Yeah.
And, okay, great. A dirt greatness, no. But an outstanding, nearly great player, I'll put it that way. Heck of a player, however we want to put it.
Yeah, I'm wondering, because you started writing columns about the time he was drafted, and kind of wild to think back of he and Rowe coming in at the same time, and then the young pup Harp comes in probably, about a year or two later?
Yeah, I think a year, but I'm not sure.
Okay. And then Jay Vincent was there early.
Yeah.
And those were some ragtag teams early. Randy, what was the vibe? I was at that, I was at those games as a kid, Dad taking me up from Kaufman County. I was actually in the junior Mavs club, if you can believe something like that. But the reunion rowdies, did they take to this team like overnight, or did they kind of have to start winning a little bit, get Aguirre, Rowe, start to turn the tide in whatever that season would have been, probably 81, 82, when maybe you started to see a light at the end of the tunnel? What was the relationship like with this team there at the very start? How long did it take to kind of take hold?
Well, and I was surprised. And by the way, a lot of people were asking that question, including Bob Folsom, the great former mayor, the late great Bob Folsom of Dallas. There would not have been a Reunion Arena if it wasn't been for Bobby Folsom. But excuse me. But a lot of people, were wondering, is the NBA really going to go in the so-called football town? And right away, I was shocked at the reception it got. Years later, I was shocked at the reception initially that the Dallas Stars got. But with hockey of all things, that initial reception. But Matt, you said it. I mean, it was a buildup. The reaction to start with was good. The attendance was good. But to get into that reunion rowdies and all that, everything going on, and the Rolling Stones Start Me Up playing and booming, that had to hit about 83 and 84. Getting back to Aguirre, the one thing that made Aguirre stand out as something less than a team guy is that you had Roe Blackman, you had Derek Harper, you had Brad Davis, you had real Jay Vincent until they traded him. Huge mistake there. But those were the ultimate team guys, just outstanding team guys. And then you had Mark kind of off on his own. Mark was about Mark. And again, heck of a player. I want to keep emphasizing that. And their leading scorer, but he was a different cat from everybody on that club. And, Dick Motta as a coach didn't take a lot of crap. And so Dick Motta was the kind of guy that, he would call out Mark, not in the media, but not publicly anyway. But so that kind of festered, but it wasn't Motta's fault. It was Mark Aguirre's fault. So we had you had a lot of intangibles there, a lot going on in the whole process. But I think number one, Mark stood out. His attitude, the way he carried himself, the way he thought of himself. You had all these great team guys, the Rose, the Harps, the Brad Davis, on and on and on. And they were bringing in great guys. And then there was Aguirre, and that caused everything to stand out. And it built and kind of got heated. But boy, when the reunion rowdies started rolling, Matt, that was probably 84. That place was, I have never been in the Louder Arena in all my days, and I spent 50 years as a sports writer at the morning, 33 at the Morning News, 17 at the Star Telegram, all of them here. And I've never been in a louder arena than reunion when it was rocking, and particularly that probably 84, 85, maybe 85 playoff series with the Showtime Lakers. That was as good as it could get, game-wise and crowd-wise. Wow. Those were, as we say, man, you should have been there. Those were the days. Now, you may have been there as that kid.
Yeah.
Coming in from Kaufman, coming in from out in the country.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were there. It was packed out.
Yeah. We kind of make it sound like I came in on a horse and buggy or something.
Load of watermelons.
I mean, I could last night they were kind of using some of the old graphics on the board. And, those of us that have been watching the Mavericks forever, kind of like, I almost wanted to hear like Kevin McCarthy's voice. You remember there was just something so great about how he, and if Magic scored, if the other team scored, he'd just say, Irvin Johnson, Kareem Jabbar. I mean, it was just really nothing to it. And even when the Mavericks scored, he did not go over the top. And of course they ask those guys to do that now, but it's amazing to me, the dancing dog up on the old Jumbotron. Yeah. And to your point, reunion. I told a story yesterday. As a kid, I thought, in my mind, the song Shout, which was featured, I think, on Animal House, and was the old Isley Brothers song and all that you knew forever, right? But in my mind, that was like the Maverick song,
Yeah. It'd been around a while but Shout and by the Isleys and Start Me Up by the Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
That was and of course, Norm Stein, there's a line in Start Me Up that Norm Stein, a fine Christian gentleman and a good guy, by the way. I don't know if he ever listened to the song because there's a line in there that I don't think he would have allowed to happen there at reunion, but after a while you couldn't take it away because it was something that, like Shout, it became it became part of the fabric of Reunion Arena.
That was, it's interesting you brought up Cuban. Generally for a big thing like that, he'd kind of like to be there, maybe even saying a few words. He doesn't mind, getting involved in things like that, right? I did not see him at the arena last night, which is, again, I have not, maybe you've read or seen an explanation for that, but I thought that was kind of interesting and a little bit telling. And unfortunately, Brad Davis was not there, although his jersey hangs in the rafters. Now, Brad's had some health things.
I think so. Yeah,
yeah,
Brad.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
God
might have
bless
been it.
Brad. I hope Brad's good. I hope that.
Yeah,
Cuban
but
is a busy man these days in politics and putting together drug deals, legal drug deals. You know what I'm talking about.
That's
And,
right. He's in the pharmaceutical business. So to speak.
Pharmaceutical
Yeah,
space.
yeah.
But so that, I mean, a lot of things could have been involved there. And the reason I brought up, Mark Cuban's name is he was a fan. Basically, he was a fan when Aguirre was here.
Yeah.
And he followed this team closely. So, then as he became owner, I never heard Mark Aguirre's name mentioned except by Derek brought it up to me, Derek Harper.
Oh, okay.
A couple of times. And Derek wasn't even in. He said, they ought to retire Mark's number. And I said, Derek, that ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
Nor should it happen. Well, no, yeah, but you got to look at it, the other things and the basketball thing. But I'll say this for Derek. Derek and Rowe, and Derek was late getting in, but they finally put him in. Cuban did that. I appreciated that. But Derek and Rowe campaigned for Mark Aguirre all these years. They wanted him in. And I really felt good for Aguirre, even though I was the one maybe ripping him in the newspapers and on the radio more than anybody at the time for his attitude and that type thing. But I really felt good for Mark when you watch that, like yesterday afternoon, Matt, the press conference, he breaks down.
Yeah.
And I didn't see, like I said, I saw a lot. It seemed like he held up during the halftime thing. But, I mean, you talk about a guy who seemed totally appreciative of this happening. He was. And that wasn't the Mark of many years ago that we all knew. That was not him. But last night, maybe that was the real Mark. And by the way, let's give Mark credit too, because when the Mavericks finally said, we got to let this guy go, they made the trade with Detroit. Mark went on to win 2 NBA titles as really a guy coming off the bench a lot for Detroit, but he was an integral part of those teams, without a doubt. And out of that trade, the Mavericks got Adrian Dantley. Oh God, that was not a good trade. And I don't think Dantley ever wanted to be here, and I think that was evident the whole time he was here. So everything worked out well for Mark after he left here, not so much for the Mavericks.
I mean, a lot of people didn't want to be there, especially in those early days. As you recall, Kiki Vandeweghe, I guess they select him and he just refused to show up.
Yeah, that was the first year
draft or something. Yeah,
wasn't that 80? I think
it might have been right there at the start. Yeah,
I think that was he said, I'm not playing for an expansion team. His daddy got involved in all that, and so it was. But you could kind of see that. But boy, when Mark was here and the players they had, the Rose, and then you could see something coming. And Mark could see something coming. But, I mean, Mark was just Mark. And like I said, he was basically an a-hole in those days. And, I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But a heck of a player. Just a heck of a player. I'm glad they put his number. I was asked that by 10 years ago. Would you be for, and people knew, I mean, the Derek Harpers and people like that, they knew my stance on Aguirre all those years he was here and what I was writing and saying about him. Would you be for that? And even then I went, yeah. I think you just kind of forget. You got to forget the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Concentrate on the good. But nobody ever had the idea until Doofus from Vegas and his side. Well, I think Cuban hired this guy. Whoever the guy is, used to be with Golden State. Some kind of, he's a front office cat president. You may know his name. But yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's in and good for Mark.
It's funny to watch footage of him last night of like dunking and being really athletic, because in my mind he always had this huge rear end.
Yeah.
And he would palm the ball, and he just was so strong. And to me, he was kind of like almost like Barkley before Barkley, but because he wasn't that tall. Mark was probably about 6'6". Barkley was probably only 6'4", 6'5". But he wasn't probably as athletic or as explosive of Barkley. But I guarantee you, when he first showed up, he was plenty athletic. It's just funny because you imagine him, even with the Pistons, as being one of those more old school 80s, take your time, back them down, but Lord knows he could score. And speaking of that, did you? I know you love watching all these games, and even though the Mavs screwed up with the whole Luka thing, and you and I have talked about that, this Cooper Flagg goes 19 years old, and he goes for 49 last night, which I thought that was. And I mean, that's the most Aguirre ever had. Aguirre back in the day, he was mad. As you said, Aguirre was always mad about something, and he was angry he didn't get into the All-Star game. And so one night against the Sixers, who were loaded, 85, still had Dr. J and others, Moses and the whole gang, Mo Cheeks. Mark goes off for 49 points. Last night, Cooper Flagg, the teenager that he is, goes off for 49. What a display. Randy, we may be, you talk about some ownership and everybody now, and it's too late for Nico, but lucking out to get this kid who, he's someone I think you can probably build around for the next decade if they can, keep him here. That's a pretty amazing thing to watch, isn't it?
Oh, you got to love it. And I'll tell you the truth. Even though the kid Marshall, I've liked watching him play. I like watching the undrafted rookie at point guard. I like watching him, but I don't even, if Cooper Flagg is not playing, I usually don't watch. Hate to say that, but that's just kind of the way it is. But no, and again, it wasn't any brainwave by the organization, certainly not Nico, that allowed the Mavericks to end up with this kid. It was luck. A lot of people say it was fixed. The NBA was rewarding the Mavericks for trading Luka to their number one franchise, so to speak, the Lakers. And I'm a conspiracy theory guy, man, as you know, but I don't even believe that. I mean, I've got to go with just flat got lucky.
Yeah.
And it will be, whoo. I mean, how good could this kid be? And I'm reading like on Athletic and some of the stuff. I still read all that, Matt. Early on, when unfortunately kid had him playing point guard, but still didn't understand that. But by the way, that may have helped him. That, those 8 or 10 games at point guard. But even, and I don't know whether that was a factor or not, but I'm reading some of these NBA Einsteins in the media saying, well, Cooper Flagg is going to be probably a heck of a player. But in the next draft, meaning the one coming up this year, he wouldn't even be top 5 pick. I'll say this, there ain't a player in college right now that you would take over Cooper Flagg. So, I mean, that was like those comments right there, 2 weeks into the season, the dumbest stuff going. But, the Cooper Flagg thing, and just attitude-wise, and the way he carries himself, apparently the work ethic that he has, all that stuff, Matt's amazing, really amazing. And, that's why there's hope for this team. He gives hope for the future to everybody involved.
More hope, would you say, than Jerry's Cowboys, who now have hit 30?
Wow.
It's now official, 30 years. And of course, you were going to all those Super Bowls and covering those great teams. Does it? It is amazing. And then to hear Jerry say that he'd like to catch Robert Kraft before Jerry said he would retire after winning as many as Kraft has. Kraft is going. I mean, that's when you just need to go check Jerry. Hey, we need to get him. We need to get him to the doctor.
Or, by the way, Matt, take away the Johnny Walker Blue. That's when you have to say. That's when Jerry, no more booze, okay? And let's hope it's just booze. I don't know, because that kind of statement, where in the world did that one come from? And you have to wonder, was Jerry just like joking us when he said it? But man, it didn't seem like he was joking us.
No.
Yeah, it was just like, I'd like to catch Kraft. Well, Kraft's got 6. Jerry, you got 3. And now Kraft's back in for a 7th. Going to be playing for a 7th. So even though Kraft seems like a pig too, he got lucky. He got lucky. But man, I do think this: as long as Jerry is in charge, nothing will change. Said that for the last 30 years, frankly. Said that really since the Gymster left town. And then a couple of years later, the Gymster players were scattering and going to the White House and doing a lot of different things. And everything kind of came apart. But nothing's going to change with the Cowboys while Jerry is in charge. And Jerry's going to be in charge until the day he dies. And unfortunately, Jerry's going to outlive us all. I mean, that's just the way it's shaping up. Because he looks in pretty good shape to me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I don't know about brain-wise when he makes some of the statements he makes.
But again, it'd be one thing, but he was making similar statements when we were talking to him 20, 25 years ago.
Absolutely,
right?
Right.
We haven't. How would we ever know if we saw slippage? But hey, last thing I had for you, I've loved our visit, and this worked out great because you get to see the young, dashing Galloway, and boy, the voice still sounds very, very strong. And by the way, still pretty dashing, I must add, for a man who's entered his 80s. I don't think we're trying to hide that at this point.
No, I mean, I was a couple of weeks ago, I was 83. So, and I'm proud of that because a lot of people had the under on that when they were betting. Me reaching. In fact, I think everybody, including my wife, had the under on that. Reaching 83. So now I'm going for 90, and then we'll throw a big party.
Yeah. Well, I would like to. I'd like to certainly be invited to that, if possible. This Bill Belichick thing the other day. Do you find that, given what he was accused of, and proven, by the way, in Spygate, but knowing that a lot of the public out there goes, good, I'm glad this happened. Do you take the side of, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen, him not being a first ballot, or are you a little bit find some humor in him having to wait, given sort of the cloud that's been over him since he was involved in some of the, and again, never proven on Deflategate, certainly proven on Spygate?
I agree with both your points. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Well, not ever, but it's the dumbest thing you can imagine, him not being a first ballot Hall of Famer. But I do kind of delight in it because just the kind of human being he is. But no, the guy has got to go in. And, I say this all the time. And I said it, I was never an NFL Hall of Fame voter, but I was a baseball Hall of Fame voter for 42 years. And just aged out on that. 10 years after retirement, you can't vote anymore. And I totally agree with that rule. It's a good rule. So last year I aged out on voting in the Baseball Hall of Fame. But man, the thing that has always chapped me forever, and I think most baseball writers agree with this, and I don't know about the football writers, but I would have to think a lot of them agree with it. You solve a lot of this if you make your ballot and your votes, make them public. That's your responsibility to pick people for the Baseball Hall of Fame, the NFL Hall of Fame, and let's see how everybody voted. Every ballot ought to be, every vote ought to be released. This is how Randy Galloway voted. This is how Matt Mosley voted. Everyone should be released. The baseball writers, a few years ago, 5, 6, 7, I don't know, whatever it was, I was in total agreement with this. Somebody came up with all ballots will be made public. And then it was in Cooperstown, the Baseball Hall of Fame people. The executive director said, no, we're not going to do that because some guys don't want it and they will not vote. Well, so what? You got 450 voting. And if we lose 20, does that really matter? I mean, and by the way, if you did not want how you vote revealed, you shouldn't be voting anyway. But they said, we'll do this. On every ballot that you received, you can check a square. I will allow my vote to be released. And if anybody asks, how'd Randy Galloway vote? Then we'll tell them. So I always check that square, and most everybody did. But in the NFL, you don't have any of that. And also the NFL, I hate the way the NFL look is, and Deion Sanders, of all people, brought this up. He brought this up 4 or 5 years ago, I think it was. It's cheapened the vote. The NFL has cheapened the vote for the NFL Hall of Fame. And they want 6, 7 people inducted every year because they want all these fans coming to Canton. Well, Cooperstown wants that too. But guess what? Some years, nobody may go in. I mean, there have been years when nobody went to baseball because it is hard to get in. Mm-hmm. They have cheapened the vote, and they continue to cheapen it by the way they do it. And I just read one of the Kansas City NFL writers came out and he said, I did not vote for Bill Belichick, and here's why. And it made sense. He voted for the 3 veteran players on the same ballot. And you can only vote for 3 of the 5 because he thought those players should be in, and he thought Belichick, he'd probably be the only one that didn't vote for Belichick.
Yes.
Well, at least 11 didn't vote for him. So he didn't get in. So I think the NFL is totally screwed up. Our friend, longtime friend, Tim Kalishaw, writes a column today in the Morning News I totally disagree with. Well, if Baseball Hall of Fame screwed up too because they let Carlos Beltran in after the cheating scandal in Houston, and he was the one kind of that set the thing up, and so they let him in, but they don't let Barry Bonds in. And Tim's a big Barry. He was in San Francisco for a while. He's a big Bonds lover. And they don't let Roger Clemens in, and they don't let Alex Rodriguez in. Alex Rodriguez says he doesn't deserve to be in because he cheated even after they caught him. He did it again, and they caught him again. But Tim says, so baseball needs to, straighten up and let all the drug use. Well, look, I don't think what Beltran did compares to the steroid thing. Those performance-enhancing drugs, man.
Yeah.
And so I would have to agree with Tim totally on that concept. I just say one thing. You'll straighten a lot of this stuff out if everybody's vote is made public, Baseball Hall of Fame and NFL Hall of Fame. It's automatically made public. If you don't want that, then don't sign up to be a voter. Or you may be qualified, but tell them, no, I don't want to vote. Okay, just let it go with that. But, okay, that's my answer to that.
That was a good one. Man, I'm so glad I tracked you down. You had a grocery run earlier. People always ask me, what's Galloway doing? What's Galloway? They always want to know. So I give them that answer you've given people before about how you wake up and you drive around and look at S. I think is the answer you gave at one point. And they always enjoy that. So
still do that. Well, today I did have to go to Brookshire today, get to the grocery store.
Yeah.
They finally got that ice out in front of the store. melted away or they scraped it away. But man, had to spend a lot of time when you first called down at the barn. And we got some freezing wet weather coming in tonight and tomorrow, and I had to get my horse ready for it. Get the horse. Man, us ranchers have a lot of work to do in this weather like this, and I know a city boy like yourself wouldn't understand that. But does one horse and no cattle make you a rancher, Matt? By the way, I got a couple of hats. So I got 2 cowboy hats and 1 horse. And
that's good. Yeah.
No cattle. Okay.
And no cattle.
So it was busy today, busy time today.
Yeah. Well, I hope you'd stocked up. The only thing that would have you would have, everybody else was getting milk and toilet paper, and when I think about you, it's Miller Lite and Tabasco sauce. I think as long as you have those things, you feel like you're going to be okay.
Well, and you know what I got today? Coors Yellow Bellies. Those little squatty bottles of Coors, I've started drinking those. That takes me back 40, 50 years ago. Love those things. And they're rather high these days, $11 for a 6-pack of the bottles, squatty bodies of the Coors Yellow Bellies. Yeah, man. So I've got that. In fact, I got it out in the truck right now. I got to go get it out of there, man.
I just was thinking, this the last thing I'll say, but that's the maddest. Probably you've been mad at me a lot over the years, but I think the angriest you've been, I won't tell the circumstances, but one night when I decided to pour out one of your beers.
No.
That was not. And I think Frito, the late great Frito, was actually recording some of that. What transpired after I made that fateful decision. I think I'll just pour this out, and it did not go over well.
Yeah. It was a good time.
Oh man, that's probably out there at Surprise, Arizona, covering some of that spring training. Of course, the pitchers and catchers will show up here pretty soon.
They will. We're about to get into that.
Yeah, but hey, thank you. I appreciate it, man. That was
enjoyed
great.
It, man.
Yeah, all right. I'll tell everybody I said hi out there, and I will see you soon.
All right, see you later. Thanks.
All right. Randy Galloway, Kevin, you can now see why we had good time together for a lot of years on the radio, and Galloway and Company, they called it. I was part of the company, and we used to have, there would be 3 of us, and then there was just the 2 of us, but we had a really good run over about a decade. And then one day he just left me. He just retired, and I was left, and I did another 3 years. I brought the guy he just brought up, Tim Calishaw. I brought him on to do radio. We lasted another 3 years there at 103.3, but had about a decade there before the station ended up as a religious station, if you could imagine. But had a lot of fun over the years. Let's take a quick break. Take care of some of our folks, and then we'll wrap it up with a couple things to get you ready for the weekend.
We don't even need to do that. We could just do it at the end. Let's push through.
Kev,
yeah.
Making executive decisions. I like this. We may promote you to executive producer. The one time that somebody put something in Randy's file, Kev, was our producer at the time was a guy named Sean Dodge, and he was a great guy, great friend of ours, but he did something that Randy didn't like. And Randy called him something. And we had these beautiful new studios and this whole great locker room. We had our own lockers. They turned it into our little workspace, into a locker room. And Randy screamed something. He was mad at Dodge about something. And so at age whatever Randy was, 68 or 69, they decided they needed to put that in Randy's file, in his work file. Of course, he'd had a career at that point for 40 years, 40 or 50 years. But he started out, Kevin, in Port Arthur, Texas, grew up around here in Grand Prairie, and then went to work in the Golden Triangle for a little bit, left, and then they brought him back. And his big kind of breakout job at the morning news was a new franchise arrived around 1972, and that would be the Texas Rangers baseball organization. And he covered that team as a beat writer for the Dallas Morning News for the first 8, 9, 10 years of its existence. And then in about 82, they offered him a job as a columnist at the Dallas Morning News. And so that would have been him and David Castevens, who Baylor guy, by the way, very famous, very talented columnist. But, there was a good mix because David was more of I guess you'd call a wordsmith, and really had sort of poetic way about presenting the sports. And then Randy would come in with the hammer and ready to fire people, ready to go after people. And so one guy was kind of more of the literary guy, and one guy was the hammer. And some people like the literary, some people like hey, who should we fire? Who should we go after? And I say that Randy was actually a really good and entertaining and accomplished writer, but he was just more of that hammer. And I can assure you that in those early days, Kev, Mark Aguirre was getting hammered by Randy Galloway. Mark, and it was, now we see it all the time, a player being disgruntled and wanting out of a place and demanding a trade or this or that. It's not, we see it now, we just expect it from star players at some point. It's like, wait, that's like a rite of passage. Of course, Dirk didn't do it. Luka didn't do it either. They did that to Luka, unfortunately, the idiot GM. But Mark Aguirre was a great, great player. But Mark Aguirre just stayed upset at management, coaching, and just constantly disgruntled about something. And it wore on the franchise, and it wore on Rowe and Derek, because they were guys that kind of had, and Randy said something there, I think that was important and correct, is that, that was part of Mark's problem. He was disgruntled and not always a team guy in a place where Rowe and Derek were kind of considered the ultimate team guys. And it was hard. It was hard to kind of figure out how to let that happen. But time has healed a lot of wounds, and Mark Aguirre was a great player, and he did a lot for that franchise and really brought in the early days the respect and attention that it needed until they could put enough players around him to then go compete with those hated Los Angeles Lakers. And by the time 82, 83, we were all just obsessed. I was a little kid, but we were obsessed with beating the Lakers because they were the Showtime Lakers with Cooper and AC Green, but of course Worthy and Magic and Kareem. It was just, they were seemingly unbeatable, but the Mavs started to put a team together that could compete. And that is why, no matter who they were playing, at some point over at Reunion Arena, the Beat LA chants would break out. All right, Kev, let's do I kind of like our new breaking news sounder. Please provide us with, there it is, breaking news. Earlier today, we've had so much on our plate, we haven't really hit this, but kind of a fascinating NFL story. The Vikings, generally, you make decisions, and whether it be coaching or otherwise, and you do these things, you hope, pretty quickly to allow people to either get new jobs or make decisions and move on. The Vikings fired general manager Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah. He was an interesting guy. Maybe, we don't know what J.J. McCarthy's going to become there. It certainly looked great when he played against the Cowboys, but there he is. And I thought this guy was highly regarded when he arrived. In a statement, the Vikings owner, Ziggy and Mark Wilf, their owners, said that Rob Brzezinski, that guy's been around for a long time, he's the executive vice president of football operations, will run the team's front office through the 2026 draft, after which a search for GM will be made. Okay, great. Way to go, guys. Says these decisions are never easy. We are grateful for Queasy's contributions and commitment to the organization over the past 4 years, and with him and his family, wish him and his family the best in the future. Sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter that throughout the season there was talk about an underlying, quote, tension in the Vikings building. One league source told Schefter it had been, quote, ugly in Minnesota. This guy had done a postseason news conference, and he'd spent this week in Mobile at the scouting the Senior Bowl practices, 7 months removed from signing what the Vikings called a multi-year contract extension. The team had no immediate comment other than the statement that was put out. Wow. I don't know, man.
How does the guy
head scratcher?
The guy who drafted Justin Jefferson lost his job, but the guy who did the Deshaun Watson deal and drafted 2 rookie quarterbacks in the same draft with the Browns still has a job. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, the only thing I can tell you is that somebody, I think we even saw by the reaction, somebody kind of made them, maybe the owner or whoever, somebody made them take Shedeur. It did not seem like the head coach nor the GM. So maybe they're not being held responsible for some of that. And by the way, of all the issues that the Browns had, Shedeur's the least of that. They didn't have a good plan going into the season. They had Flacco there. They drafted 2 quarterbacks. Neither one was ready. One of them played in the Pro Bowl. Oh, man. But there, by the way, don't want to say anything about that, Kevin. And again, I have had issues with Dion. I actually had a great visit with him. At the Big 12 Media Days. I had a really nice visit with him. I'm still blocked by him on Twitter because we've had some battles in the past. But maybe he'll come on the show. Maybe he'll come on YouTube with us. Wow. Kevin, I'm so glad you got to see that. And great job finding that photo. That's one thing Kevin and Randy couldn't figure out the video, and that's fine. Because he sounded great. And Kevin found that old photo when he was at the morning news, and that Randy looked great. And by the way, Randy still looks really good. Now he's grayer, and he's gotten a little older. He just turned 83. Gosh, I think I missed that here recently. But dang, man, that was fun. And the people that used to listen to him for years, read his columns, and always ask me where he is and what he's doing, they'll love that. Kevin, by the time we start putting that out there, that will be heavily. So I'll send you, Kevin, when we're through here, the parts of it I think might make good shorts so we can coach our youngsters up a little bit on their short making. Oh, what do you have? What else breaking?
All right. NFL announced new salary cap somewhere between $301.2 and $305.7 million. That's over $30 million over just last year.
Okay. So Jerry has said he's willing to bust the budget Here you go, big boy. Here you go. Get ready. There's more room. There's more room. Now, they like to stay flexible, and that didn't in the past. By the way, they weren't flexible at all. But now, yeah, Kev, very interesting there. On another day, we could spend even more time on this, but sadly, we've run out of time. But this is big news to all the teams out there, and this is big for the Cowboys that already have somewhere in the neighborhood of, what did I see? Was it like somewhere in the 50 to 100 million range to play with going into free agency. That was without adding this. So now we know it's 30. I bet the Cowboys have, especially when they they'll continue to redo and restructure some of these salaries. In free agency, they'll enter free agency with around 100 million, I bet. You add this to the deal. I don't have that exact number. I'll look. Our man Todd Archer is a salary cap expert. I bet he'll have something along those lines. Kevin, excellent work today, man. As I say, some days I'm like, well, golly, are we going to have 2 hours? And the thing is, easy.
I have some landing for you.
Thank you, Brazos Landing.
All right. You ready?
Yeah. What is it?
All right. So I've got 4 top 25 college basketball games going on this weekend that I want you to pick.
Oh, okay. Wait, just not against the line, just who's going to win or who's going to. Okay.
Yep. All right. So, no, not wordy. Just give us your pick. Okay. Number 3, Michigan at number 7, Michigan State.
Michigan.
All right. Number 13, BYU at number 14, Kansas.
Kansas.
All right. Number 23, Alabama at number 19, Florida.
Florida.
And the last one, number 9, Illinois at number 5, just beaten Nebraska.
At Nebraska?
Mm-hmm.
That kid will probably be back from the flu. Illinois has been playing great, though. Wow, top 10 now. Yeah, Strickland's got them really playing. Wait, what's his name? Brad? Wait, no, not Brad Strickland. What's his name? Brad. What's the coach? Anyway, sorry. Brad Strickland's the AD at Florida. My brain misfires sometimes. That guy's a great coach. Give me Nebraska.
All right.
Give me Nebraska.
There you go.
Have a great weekend. What do you Sunday? Is that when the TCU? Is that when the Baylor women? Who do they have?
SMU.
And is that at our place?
Yep, it's going to be indoor, the Hawkins Indoor.
Hawkins Indoor. One of it, was it the outdoor facility or the entire facility got voted like best in America recently?
The Herd is something special, the outdoor.
Maybe it's the outdoor. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Mark Hurd, the late, great Mark Hurd. And he was on the Board of Regents, and he played tennis at Baylor, and he gave a ton of money, and you have the Hurd Center at Baylor. Now, Kevin, by the way, now after you spend like millions upon millions on these facilities, now, of course, all anybody wants is NIL money. It's like, dang it. Did we really need to build all that? Could we have used that to get another point guard? Could we have gotten another wing with some of that money? Thank you, Jeremy. By the way, that's an incredible football facility. Jeremy Fudge, that development center, the Jeremy Fudge. That's a great place. Jeremy watches the show every day, so I need to give him a shout out here. All right. I mean, I know that just made his day. It is the Mosley Show. It's all the time we have for you. We gave you our breaking news. We gave you everything we have. Subscribe to the YouTube. We need you. We want you. And that way you can interact with us even more. It is the Matt Mosley Show. Thank you, Brazos Landing. Thank you, Central National Bank. Can't wait for these new commercials that we'll have Monday airing. And everybody root on the Bears, both the men and women, as they're in West Virginia this weekend. The Mosley Show. We'll see you Monday at 1:00.
With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Dive into adventure with scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. Samsonite is the world leader in durable, high-quality luggage and travel accessories. Travel with Samsonite and pack confidence every step of the way. Shop now at shop.samsonite.com. Samsonite.
So all you have to do is tap your Popple to the back of someone's phone, like that, and they instantly get your social media and contact info right on their screen. They don't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. So get your Popple today and start impressing everyone you meet. Make it pop.
Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Golf Partner, overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com.
Designed to elevate the off-road experience, enabling adventurers to conquer any terrain. For 50 years, you've trusted us on your toughest recoveries, to your most breathtaking destinations, and in countless unforgettable memories.